the gas station. Why? Because the dum-dum light just came on. I forgot to get fuel. I got so busy talking, and telling you what I think about everything that I forgot to keep an eye on my gas gauge. So now all is well. The dum-dum light is off. Almost missed my turn. These old country towns, they don't give you a lot of signage. You got to have your eyes peeled, as they say. Uh, so at any rate, I am doing the do. It's nearing sunset, so it's a cooler time of day, and I could put my eyes on the dashboard without fear of the sun heating it up beyond recognition and function. So I am getting a move on. Okay. I'm down. Oh my goodness. When you sit down, that thing really crumples up, doesn't it? You almost have to stand up to stretch it out. Give it the prominence. I shall not. I'm going to slouch back in my seat. Sorry for the noise. Let me get on the smoother side of the road. They're apparently doing a little bit of road work out here, but these trucks, when it gets hot, that asphalt seems to just peel up like the skin of a peach that's been sitting in the sun too long. So anyway, I'm not doing badly. Um, my girl BB checked on me. Hey BB, I'm going to get back with you soon enough. I'll call you as soon as I get off the line talking to these boomers. And speaking of boomers, welcome to Midlife Priceless. I'm Miss Margaret, and this is my channel. And today I'm doing a long, very long road trip, so I'm chatting you all up, giving you the business, sharing my thoughts. And Shannon Sharp has been on my tongue all day, so this show will not mention him beyond what I just said. Moving on. I have my own life to live. And my own, what's that song? I've got my life to live. Something. Was that Diana Ross? I'm not really feeling her most of the time. Between her and Cher, I've had enough in this lifetime. But I can tell you today, I have been using Shazam more than ever because I was listening to an oldies station today, and I heard everything from Gloria Gaynor talking about, oh, life is too serious, love's too mysterious. A fly girl like me needs security, 'cause ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. I hope that doesn't get me demonetized or some kind of strike. But that's not my song. That's Gloria Gaynor's song. I also heard, now this one. Do you remember Colonel Abrams? He was hot when house music and, house music, not disco, but house music was all the rage. And my girlfriend from Jersey, Pam, she used to tell me there was a nightclub up in Jersey called the Garage, and they used to house music you down, and how they used to party hard in that place. I've never been, and somehow the house music escaped me. I don't know if I was out of the country at the time when it was hot or what, but I've missed a lot of songs. I remember when I had never heard of Little Kim, and some people came over to Africa and they were playing that stuff, and my mouth dropped open. I had never heard such, let alone heard of her. But anyway, I was listening to my oldies today, and Colonel Abrams pitched up in the on the playlist. Oh my goodness, what's that song? I'm trying to think of it. I'm sorry, it's a lot going on. Um, he was singing about being in love. Um, they say I'm too. They say you're too young for me. Why can't they just let us be? What is that song? Oh my goodness, how could I forget? I just heard it maybe an hour ago, but it was Colonel Abrams, and he was giving it the business back in the day. It was a 12-inch long play remix of Colonel Abrams. Man, what a song. Uh-oh, I forgot to turn off my notifications again. But let me tell you something. I got so excited to hear that song again. I danced in this car for all I was worth. I actually broke a little bit of a sweat. And I got so excited, I looked him up because I couldn't remember hearing where he is, how, anything about Colonel Abrams. Colonel Abrams was the MAN baby. On that song, that was a hit. And the thing about the story of him that hurt me the most is that he died distressed. He had some diabetes complications, and then ultimately that's what caused his demise. But before that, he struggled. He was homeless. He just went through a lot. And I think it's a shame. We have a lot of artists out there. Atlantic Star. What happened to those guys? Or the Deals. Remember them? What's another one? Rose Royce, Mass Production, Mother's Finest. Ooh! If you don't know these artists, then you need to look them up and party on. Trust what I'm telling you. Now, the ones that I mentioned, those are real musicians singing in the microphone without help and synthesizers. They played instruments, wrote music, and had to know how to actually play the instruments. None of this studio musician crap that you get today. It was real music, like Earth, Wind, and Fire, real. Oh my goodness, the Temptations, the OJs, the Shy Lights. We have seen, my generation has really enjoyed and benefited from the best of us as human beings, the best of our race, the best of our community. And it's unusual. It's unusual. It's really unusual. I just realized that I'm also, I forgot to disconnect my Bluetooth. Damn. Remember when Florida Evans on Good Times? Damn. Give me a second. I'm going to disconnect this thing. 1 second. Now, the sound probably just got exponentially better. And, roadkill. That was a big one. That wasn't any little muskrat story. No possum. That thing looked like it was a whole deer or something. And the cars and the trucks just keep on rolling. Nobody even scrape them off the pavement. I guess they don't do that around here. So check it out. I'm driving along, and if you know anything about traveling 95, you know that once you have to endure every bump in the road, there being a sign telling you how many miles before you get to south of the border, you understand my pain. I can't stand to see those signs. Not because they're annoying, not because they aren't entertaining, but because by the time you finally get to south of the border, you almost feel obliged to pull over and check it out and find out what is all of this about. I don't know who owns that thing, but I would love to talk to them about their marketing strategy. They really dug in deep, and they put their boots on the ground with these billboards to tell you how many more miles, and it starts at 100 miles. Or is it 80? I think it's 80. They start nagging you. 50 miles to the south of the border. 45 miles to south of the border. Dinosaurs at south of the border. They have food. They have entertainment. It's almost like, or at least it used to be. Now, let me be careful with this because I don't want to recommend that you check it out, only to find that COVID had them shut down or they're a fraction of what they used to be. I have no idea. But I have been, my mom and I were traveling this way once, and she and I went, and I'm here to tell you, it was a sight. It was a sight. So it's somewhere along the corridor of 95 and You will, I think it's somewhere near Florence, if I'm not mistaken, South Carolina. I know sometimes we think things are in North Carolina. South Carolina doesn't get its just due the way it should, but it's up now. South Carolina is a beautiful state. Make no mistake about it. It really is. I know I said it about everywhere I go, but it really is beautiful. South Carolina is beautiful. I think mostly, I would say safely on the eastern seaboard, there are very few exceptions to states, cities, towns that don't have their own charm. Savannah, Georgia is absolutely one of them. Going on the eastern shore of Virginia to Chincoteague or eastern shore of Maryland, whatever those towns are, I've never been, sorry. I'm just sure that it's just beautiful because it's only a state border that divides the place. That was my sister trying to check and see if I'm okay. What's going on here? Okay, now we're back together. That was my sister checking on me, so let me shut that off. Now, the thing is, if I'm not going live, I leave my phone open and available for calls and things. You never know, you know? But I'm so glad that I could stop for gas when I did, and I'm back on the road. So welcome back to Midlife Priceless. This is how it is on my channel. You never know what we're talking about on here or when we're going to do stuff. But it's a beautiful day, moving into a beautiful evening. It's much cooler, of course, now that the sun is setting. And it's just gorgeous. It's 80 degrees out there in South Carolina. It's 7:50 p.m. And I believe I'm 60 miles from south of the border. Oh, Pedro's Reptile Lagoon. Where? South of the border. Yes, I'm going to bother you with these signs as I pass them. I don't know that you're going to have to endure all 50 miles with me, but we're going to roll on, roll on. One of the things I want to go back to that I was talking about earlier is BDSM, and I want to focus on that topic alone, and I will have the discipline, I promise, to speak on that one topic in this one broadcast, nothing more. Is that fair? Does that work for you guys? Hi everybody, welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for joining me. I'm Miss Margaret, and I'm talking about BDSM. What is BDSM? Who's involved? Why are people involved? This is YouTube. Let's start with that. This is YouTube, and there are a lot of things I can't really say outright. Although this is something to do with health in many ways, and you making right choices and good decisions based on he who shall not be named, who did not seem to do any of this, but is now finding himself in trouble. BDSM, what does it stand for? Well, I need you to Google that. I need you to Google that. That's the only way I can be sure of who is listening is allowed to hear what I have to say about this. BDSM, let's take the B part first. The B part has many forms. It doesn't mean someone putting handcuffs on you. It could be something as historically pertinent as shibari, suspension. It could be being restrained in some way, shape, or fashion, not against your will, but because you want to be restrained, you want to be bound, you want to be controlled, if that's the word I can use for this, and it is something that you not only desire but you request from someone else. And before I go on, I will say this: at the end of this, when I get to the M, there are some ground rules that need to be observed. So please hang on and let me get through this B, D, S, and M, and then we'll go into some other platitudes and practices that are standard. You don't just jump into this thing. There are rules associated with BDSM, and you need to know what they are, not because you want to engage it, but because maybe you want to avoid it. Maybe someone is speaking over your head on this thing, and you really don't know what they're talking about, but you're so excited by this person, you just say yes. Don't do that. Find out what this is all about first. Lay down your requirements, your boundaries, your rules, and then we go from there. But I'll get to that in a minute. So back to the B. I've heard Jessamine Stanley talks about it a little bit. She enjoys shibari with her partner and has even gone so far as to encourage those interested to experiment by giving themselves a tie-up. Now, if you go on YouTube and look for shibari methods and different tie styles, you're going to find a whole world that did not know was out there. There's something you can do for yourself. You need a partner, but no matter what you do, whether you do it by yourself or if you have a partner, the one thing you want to have in your possession is a pair of safety scissors. You got to have safety scissors. Welcome into Midlife Priceless, like, share, and describe. I'm going into the BDSM, what it means and what it's all about, and maybe shed a little more light on the situation about he who shall not be named. I will not call his name, but his last name rhymes with heart. Anyway, shibari is one form of it. There are others, and I'm not as well versed on them, but I'm not trying to educate you about all of the options, just to open your mind to realizing there are different approaches to intimacy that may not subscribe to your ideal, that it may not make any sense to you, that does not appeal to you. You find strange, weird, sick, twisted, demented, and that's not uncommon. I've heard it all by now. I have. And that's up to each individual to decide what their boundaries are. I can't decide for you what your boundaries are, and you can't decide for me what mine are. But here's the thing. When someone trusts you to talk to you and try to express something to you, give them the respect of not laughing them out of the room or saying, well, why would you be into that? You know, even your tone of voice will make a person withdraw and pull away and not feel safe with you because of your tone, because of the way you're speaking to them, the way you're responding. In the BDSM community, there is such a thing as a submissive and a dominant. The submissive is the person who submits to the will of the dominant. The dominant, therefore, has a great responsibility. The dominant is responsible not only for the pleasure, but the safety of the submissive. Very much so. And I mentioned earlier that the submissive has more control than the dominant because it is the submissive who sets the boundaries, not the dominant. Not at all. That is why he who shall not be named is being misunderstood, because everyone's looking at him and not looking at her as the control. She is the control, not him. He was obliging, doing what she said she needed and wanted. But again, this is not about him. So let me get back on task here. The act
itself, whatever the BDSM event entails, we call a scene. Whatever you want for your scene is what you will tell your dominant you want in this relationship, such as it is. Now, some will not even give it the legitimacy to call it a relationship, but I have to call it that. I mean, you're both in the room, you're both relating one to the other with whatever it is you're relating about, and however you're relating it, so it is a relationship. Which brings us to the D. D for dominance or domination. Here again, who is the dominant? Who is the submissive? And it is completely possible to find a dominant or a dom or a dominatrix has more than one submissive. Vice versa. And then there are the people in the middle. They call them switches. They're called switches. They're the people who can't decide if they want to dominate or be submissive. And they go back and forth constantly because that's their kink. That's how they get down. And you have to let them have that. But if you're not equally as flexible and you must always be one or the other, then there's going to be a conflict at some given point in time, right? What are you dominating? You're dominating their pleasure, how it is delivered, when it is delivered, and with what regularity it is delivered. Again, all within the sanctuary of what this submissive has stated is acceptable practice. And here's the other piece of this. When the submissive wants to end, pause, or discontinue the play, the scene, the dominance, there is something called a safe word. And the safe word is to eject, end, discontinue, stop all proceedings. All. And in the immediate. Not when the dominant says, okay, one more, let me get one more in. No. Immediately. That's what the safe word is. That is what the safe word does. Whether it's pain that makes you say the safe word, or it is pleasure that makes you emit the safe word because it's too intense. There is that fine line between pain and pleasure, right? Just like love and hate. There's a thin line between love and hate. Great song, by the way. So when you are under dominance or under a dominant partner, you have trusted them with something very sacred, even right down to the S&M of it. And I'm not going to state what that is. Again, I'm a little nervous about the way YouTube will receive what I'm saying with the artificial intelligence piece. But S&M travel together. It's not BDSM. It's BDSM. Okay? So this S&M piece, the S&M piece, that's probably where you're going to hear the safe word the most. Because it is the nature of S&M that it is intense and that it's a kink that is more twisted than the B and the D part of this. Some people enjoy pain. It stimulates them. It motivates them. But here again, it is the responsibility of the dominant in the relationship, the dominant in the scene, to know how much this person can take historically, or even as an initial point of contact. What is this person's threshold of pain? And how to control, inspire, and get that submissive's body to release the endorphins that shroud the submissive chemically, physiologically, and the pain becomes the pleasure. Does that make any sense to you guys? I don't see any comments coming in. Please hit like, comment, subscribe, and let me hear what you think about what I'm saying. But this is the crux of the matter, and this is why he who's having problems, because this is not something that is mainstream. Kink is not mainstream. There is an underground, there is a marginal group, there is a lesser known community of people who are dedicated to BDSM, who are practitioners of BDSM, who are certified in BDSM, who are health professionals who can teach the community and do teach the community about safety zones on the human body. You can't pound away at a person anywhere on their back. You'll destroy their kidneys in the process. Talk about unsafe. That's where the trust comes in. I have to believe, I have to know and believe that my partner in a BDSM relationship has my safety first at heart, and my pleasure and my pain, if that's what I'm asking for, in front of him at all times. It is not necessarily the dominant who's gaining the stimulation all by him or herself. It is the submissive as well. There's a power exchange going on here, if you haven't picked up on it. The submissive empowers the dominant, who empowers the submissive, who empowers the dominant, and it's cyclical. It just continues on and about in that fashion. So I hope this has been helpful to you so far. So now to the last part. We've talked about what BDSM is. Let's talk about who's in it, why they're in it, and how to go about it. Now, who's in it? Could be anybody. It could be you, it could be me, it could be the person sitting next to you in church, it could be the man sitting across from you in the office. Anybody. Literally anybody. But it is such a personal choice and preference that you don't know this about the person unless you've been intimate with them and they've told you about it or tried to broach the subject, which brings me to the how to go about it. Sometimes you make a little jokey joke. Sometimes you ask, did you see such and such a thing? Be it TV or an article, whatever, something on TV or what have you. And ask the person, what do they think? Their true, honest answer will be given to you without you having to say much more than, what do you think? Once you get that answer, just like you would not want someone to admonish or give you tones of voice about your choice, don't you give them attitude either. But what do you mean by that? Don't be defensive. You ask them what they thought and they told you. So don't, and here's the other second part to that. You've had time to think about it. You've had time to think about it. In fairness, how about you give them the same amount of time to either continue thinking about it, retract their answer, or do a 180 altogether and just say, you know what, I don't know why. Give them a chance. Give that person a chance to say what they want to say. It's important that everybody be heard in this thing. Right? Have a safe word at all times. Have a safe word. It's getting darker now, but I know you can still see me. Get a safe word for both of you, dominant and submissive. Because the submissive could be asking for something that the dominant realizes is going to injure this person, or maybe even is beyond their ability to deliver. The safe word allows the dominant to say, let me go back and study this thing. But you can put a stop to it.